And apparently it's still the case today, Mr. President, and I still don't think it's fair. Now, President Biden chose to bail out 3 of our banks. It was a bailout. You can pretty it up any way you want to. And you can put perfume on a pig, but it still smells like a pig. This was a bailout. It was a bailout for 2 reasons. Number one, except for the people who own the stock in the banks and their unsecured creditors, President Biden and his regulators guaranteed that nobody affiliated with these banks would have any losses. And he said, that's not a bailout because money's not being provided by the American people. It's being provided by all the other banks in America. Well, Mr. President, as you know as well as I do, there is no money fairy. There isn't anything free. Anything free, somebody had to work for it. By taking the hit, all the banks in America now, I'm referring to, banks are taxpayers, that's point one. Point two, but those banks, all the banks in America that are going to have to pay for the president's bailout, they're just going to pass on those costs, including but not limited to their depositors. And last time I checked, most depositors in banks in America were taxpayers as well. The second reason President Biden's bailout is a bailout, and this is in the fine print, but he has set up I think it's a $25 billion fund that other banks that are in trouble can borrow from. And this fund, he says, does not come from the American people. It came from the banks. Once again, the costs of it will be passed on by the banks to the depositors, to the taxpayers. But this $25 billion fund that banks that are in trouble can borrow from is set up as follows. The banks can borrow money as they need it, and as collateral, they put up their securities.
Wow, friends, lawmakers are finally making progress on negotiations, and the United States is now facing trillions of dollars in debt. But several Democrats and Republicans are working together to pass a new bill. This legislation may affect many federal programs, including Medicare and Social Security. My friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video. Also know that I'll be giving away 2 more Walmart gift cards this coming Friday. Please enter the giveaways. All you have to do is click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch, friends, the greater your chances of winning the weekly giveaways. Hopes by lawmakers to balance the federal budget in a decade through reductions in spending could mean significant cuts to programs to achieve that goal. A recent analysis by the Congressional Budget Office crunches the numbers behind what achieving a balanced budget in the next 10 years would mean. The report comes as Democrats have sought to hammer Republicans over proposals to balance the budget. In the time frame, they'll potentially steep cuts to spending. In its recent analysis, the nonpartisan budget scorekeeper said, its current baseline projections show the nation's federal budget deficit may reach $2.9 trillion in 2033. To eliminate that deficit through cuts, the agency calculates the impact of various budget roadmaps. Under one such path, the agency said lawmakers could reach the goal if all non-interest outlays were gradually reduced starting in 2024, so that they were 29% less than the amount in the agency's baseline projections in 2033. However, the agency notes some drastic increases to that percentage, depending on what items lawmakers opt to shield from spending reductions, and whether Congress decides to extend the lifetime of tax provisions included in the former president's signature 2017 tax law. When not factoring in the extension of the tax cuts, The CBO projected that all non-interest outlays would have to be reduced by 41% to achieve a balanced budget in the same window. That's if lawmakers also decided to factor out changes to Social Security, which compromises a big chunk of federal spending. The percentage rises to 57% when lawmakers take Medicare off the table as well, and then 86% when defense discretionary programs and mandatory veterans programs are additionally factored out. The CBO stated the corresponding reductions under the budgetary path, incorporating extensions of certain provisions of the 2017 Tax Act, are larger: 35%, 48%, 67%, and 100%. According to these calculations, under that path, eliminating all non-interest outlays other than those for Social Security, Medicare, defense discretionary programs, and mandatory veterans programs would result in a very small deficit rather than a balanced budget in the year 2033. The recent report underscores a difficulty that Republicans face, as some in the party have pushed for a balanced budget in 10 years, especially as different factions have clashed in the past few months. Over where ideas to shore up solvency for entitlement programs or potential reductions to military spending also fit into talks. Top Republicans have said changes to Social Security are off the table in negotiations over how to address the nation's debt limit, and instead have focused more on efforts that target curbing non-defense spending. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has also vowed no new tax increases on Americans. That is a sharp contrast to what Democrats are pushing for to reduce the nation's deficit by raising taxes, with a focus on wealthy Americans and corporations. So in a statement on Tuesday, Senate Democrat Sheldon Whitehouse, chair of the Senate Budget Committee, said, "The report showed no amount of cuts can make their math add up." Senate Democrat Ron Wyden, chair of the Senate Finance Committee, also said in a recent statement, "Today's analysis from Congress's own nonpartisan authority on the budget makes it clear Republican promises not to cut Social Security or Medicare on their way to balancing the budget just don't add up." Ron Wyden instead applauded President Biden's recent budget, which seeks to target wealthier Americans with tax increases to achieve roughly $3 trillion in deficit reduction over the next decade, while also including boosts to discretionary spending for non-defense and defense programs next year. However, the recent rollout has been met with immediate pushback from Republicans, who have raised great concerns about the impact that the tax proposals could have on some small businesses, and argued that proposed spending would threaten efforts to reduce high inflation. So, dear friends, what are your thoughts on the current state of the U.S. economy? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Well, my amazing and awesome friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Wednesday. Thank you, my friends, for being part of this community and for being here every single day. I will be announcing 2 winners this Friday for the Walmart gift card giveaway. My friends, if you'd like to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, my dear friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed Wednesday.